Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be looking again on the contradiction of Catholic doctrine. In this part I'll be taking a look at some of the critiques raised on my video, and I'll sort of be addressing them. So this will be the first sort of section of the critique. We'll have another video coming out soon addressing the second critique. So the first criticism is as follows. The Latin translation of adoration is adorant in both Lumen Gentium and Nostra Aetate, and this holds a separate meaning of simply to speak to or to pray to. So I try to paraphrase the critique as best as I could there, but if there's any issues with that, I'm sure the person critiquing me can let me know in the comments. So anyway, if this is as they say, the critique they hold, then we can sort of look at why this does not hold. So the meaning of adorant. So first we've got to look at the sort of Latin and seeing adoration and adorant, do they hold separate meanings? So adorant is a form of the root word adoro. It's a specific conjugation, as can be seen here. I'm not going to get too much into the Latin as I'm not very familiar with this. This is from my own sort of surface reading and research. So the definition is given for adoro as to mean to revere, honor, worship, adore. And the Lewis and Short definition, so the Lewis and Short is referring to a dictionary, a Latin dictionary that's, I believe, is highly regarded as being quite reliable. And it's a sort of academic gold standard from what I've seen. But anyway, it holds this definition that it is to reverence, honor, adore, worship the gods or objects of nature regarded as gods, more empathetic than venerari, and denoting the highest degree of reverence. So that's sort of a key point there, the highest degree of reverence. And it's not just sort of simple reverence, it's more empathetic than this other word here. So it's this highest degree, it's as far as you can go. There's no other sort of substitution for it really. So with this idea of the root word in mind, we can see that adorant is just then that word taken in different tenses or whatever. So adorant would still hold that same meaning, and all the other conjugations should hold that same meaning. Okay, so then we can look at how adoro and its other conjugations are now used in church documents. So the reason why I'm going to be doing this is to show that adoration and adoro and its conjugations are used in a very specific way and holds a specific meaning, which I laid out in my first video. So in the Catechism, we can see that adoration is the first act of the virtue of religion, and so on. So again, we have adoration holding the specific meaning. To adore God is to acknowledge him as God, as the creator and savior. So capital G there for God, keep note of that. You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. So again, we can see from here the Latin holds constantly, and I'm not going to go through all of these quotes, you can see them by yourself, but the Latin here is constantly using the conjugates of adoro. So all throughout, it's just constantly used. So I think this is building up an idea that yes, adoro does refer to adoration, not just simple prayer or speaking to or simple worship. It's this higher level of worship. So some specific quotes from the Catechism. The thrice holy and sovereign God of love that we can see here is being adored here. So this is not just any, old God. This is a specific Trinitarian God that adoration is given to. So that's a key point there. Looking at Lumen Gentium, well, in later sections of Lumen Gentium, adoration is again used. So the whole Church of the Saints, in the supreme happiness of charity, will adore God. So again, these saints adore God. But earlier we saw that, Muslims and Hindus or whatever, they also worship God. But that doesn't really make sense because, well, we know what adore means. It means to the Trinity. So again, are the saints doing this sort of low-level worship that the Muslims are doing according to the Catholics, right? That, there's sort of the common retort that, Muslims they only have sort of a piece, right? It is worship, but it's sort of in the wrong direction or whatever, right? But again, we're told they're adoring. Why is adore used for Muslims and also used for saints? Saints are obviously adoring in the correct way. So, we have another case of this contradiction being built up. And of course, the Latin does sort of show that the conjugation is again used here. So I think the Latin is becoming clear that yes, this is referring to a specific word. So, and then of course, this is the sort of big point here. Thomas Aquinas himself, who is regarded as an excellent Catholic theologian, and while not, a pope, he doesn't speak in infallible ways, right? He is still regarded as being a really sort of important figure who gets pretty much most of Catholicism right? Especially on the key points here, like adoration and worship. There's been no news from the Catholic Church that, Aquinas was wrong about adoration and worship. So we can take his words as being in line with Catholic doctrine. And of course, Summa Theologica is, known as his magnum opus. So, first off, in Summa Theologica, in question 81 of Article 1, we can find, in Article 1 of question 81, we can find, since servant implies relation to a lord, wherever there is a special kind of lordship, there must be a special kind of service. Okay? Now it is evident that lordship belongs to God in a special and singular way because he made all things and has supreme dominion over all. Consequently, a special kind of service is due to him. So yes, this sort of logically follows, right? If we acknowledge that, God is a Lord, then we have to, that implies that there's a special service due to him. And then this is what he's defined as latria, which is religion. So then he sort of states that religion is a virtue, and then he's going to tell us what that really means. So he tells us that a virtue is that which makes its possessor good, and his act good likewise. So if you have a virtue, then you sort of become a good person, your acts become good. So wherefore, the English is a bit difficult to read here, but we can sort of get the gist of the idea. So wherefore we must needs say that every good act belongs to a virtue. Okay, that logically follows. If virtues produce good acts, then good acts must come from a virtue. That's all fine. Now it is evident that to render anyone his due has the aspect of good, since by rendering a person his due, one becomes suitably proportioned to him through being ordered to him in a becoming manner, but order comes on the... So this is again sort of a logical line of reasoning showing how, if we acknowledge that order is good, then this sort of action of paying dues, paying due honor is good. So, and then he states that it is in religion that you pay due honor to someone, that someone is God. So therefore religion is a virtue. Okay, so that's sort of basic theology, right? Religion is a virtue. It makes you good and your act good. Paying your due honor to God makes you good. Pretty, nothing controversial here. So Aquinas sort of states this out. And then when we get to what it means to honor God, Aquinas gives us some more detail. Since virtue is directed to the good, wherever there is a special aspect of good, there must be a special virtue. Okay? Now, the good to which religion is directed is to give due honor to God. Again, honor is due to someone under the aspect of excellence, and to God a singular excellence is competent, since he infinitely surpasses all things and exceeds them in every way. So because of his sort of nature, a special honor is due to God. So therefore religion is a special type of virtue, meaning that a special honor is due to God, right? So you can't just honor God in any kind of sort of simple way. It must be in a special way. It must be different to how you honor your father or to a king or anyone else. Okay, so then Aquinas talks about whether adoration is an act of latria or religion. And now, yes, he has that word or in there. However, or just means, doesn't mean, an option or a choice here. It just means, so what this statement is trying to say is that whether adoration is an act of latria, or in other words, religion. So Aquinas here is equating latria to religion. He's saying that these two are interchangeable words. So here we see that he says that I answer that adoration is directed to the reverence of the person adored. Now it is evidence from what we have said that it is proper to religion to show reverence to God. Hence the adoration whereby we adore God is an act of religion. So adoration is specific to God. It's the specific paying honor due to God. It is an act of religion, right? So, but if you remember, religion is a special virtue. If it's a special virtue, a special honor is due. Not a simple honor. A special honor is due to him. So, we sort of have this confirmation of, the Catholic doctrine that we already looked at in the first video, but hopefully this sort of, emphasizes a bit more. And also, I'm not going to pull up all of the Latin here because I think it will just bog down the document, but in this website here, that I've linked here, that, if you need access to, you can contact me and I'll send it over. But that holds a side-by-side view of the Latin and the English next to each other, so you can view how the conjugations of the word adoro are constantly used throughout. So the same language that is used in Vatican II, in Lumen Gentium Nostra Aetate, to inform us that, Muslims and whatever worship the same God as Catholics, that same language is used throughout all of these other documents. So, and of course, in these documents here, adoro, I can't say the Latin, but, those Latin words are obviously meaning adoration as in worship to God, the Trinity, not to, any sort of Unitarian God. So again, I think this really does paint a picture of a contradiction within Catholic teaching and doctrine. I think that this aspect of Vatican II is a mistake. I haven't looked at all of Vatican II or this and that, but I think this specifically, I think this criticism that a lot of people have raised is real and true. And again, just to reiterate, Vatican II is binding on Catholics, right? It's not ex cathedra, but this is still part of the ordinary magisterium. It's still binding on Catholics. Like, as a Catholic, you must submit to Rome, right? You must submit to Rome. And you must submit your sort of, I can't remember what it was, but it's sort of like your heart and your mind to these papal teachings. So the next video coming out will be on the second set of criticisms. So I haven't even started it yet, but hopefully I'll get that done soon. A few weeks time should be out, but there is quite a lot to go through in that, so might take longer than that. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, any critiques, again, they're all welcome in the comments below. And if you like the video, you can like it, or if you didn't, dislike it, and subscribe for more. Thank you.